welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman. We're talking Main Street and the small business lenders who help it grow. Lance Sexton, good to see you. Thank you very much for covering for me last week. I don't think I acknowledged that, and I understand Michael did a good job on Fraud Friday. Michael and Delaney and you?
Michael and Delaney did an exceptional job, and we also had the chance to talk about franchising with our friend, Mr. Ross.
Oh, Mr. Rosman, good. Well, I appreciate it. I was out in the desert looking at mines, so.
Things that sounds like a good time.
That was what I was. Hey, as a reminder, download these certificates. They're PDF. Keep them in a folder somewhere. Have a central point person do that, because that does satisfy the question that SBA or auditors will ask you. Hey, what are you doing for training? Say, hey,
Absolutely.
It's a half-hour show, and there's a place for you to sign. It's a half-hour show, and obviously all we're talking about is SBA.
Oh my gosh, Bob, I'm in love with this first question.
There we go. We haven't had poll questions for a while, and this is simple. Yes or no, Lance?
I got to think, Bob, it is an absolute
63%. Oh
my goodness.
And I was 63% the wrong way. I wasn't even close.
Bob, I was with you. I was thinking it might be 60, 40, 60% yes. I do think that everybody needs to tighten their belt a little bit, really keep on top of their servicing portfolio, because the pandemic effects never were really felt because of all the support, the 11, 12 payments, PPP loans, and, that money's gone now. So we're certainly going to see, and even during 2021, Bob, most of those loans got 6, 11, 12 payments made for them. I was looking at.
Yeah, the way we worded that is currently no. I think the answers are good. Thinking about it now, Lance, I think, do you project a deterioration? Then the numbers would have flipped. But I think our audience, that makes sense. The portfolios are still good as of March 18th, post St. Patrick's Day. But obviously, it's a high concern to everyone. And speaking of that segues into the Fed. We all understand what they did yesterday. And just a general question. There you go. Oh, I have to read them for the people on the phone. No effect. Our customers will be able to manage the hikes. We're concerned, but we're not losing sleep. We're increasing our servicing and adjusting our credit box. And yeah, it's going to be a definite negative impact on our loan portfolio. So you got 4 choices. Concerned, but not losing sleep on it. I don't have. What do you think, Lance?
Well, I think the initial impact is not going to be significant because, let's face it, most of our SBA loans are re-amortized typically at the end of the year, Bob. But when we get, toward the end of the year and the Fed's met a couple more times and rates have been increased, certainly we're going to be real glad that we use rate shock analysis in our debt coverage ratios. Because I do think it'll impact. I mean, you've got a variety of things that are impacting small businesses. Increased shipping costs is a significant factor for most small businesses.
Shipping food. I mean, it's.
And Bob, everybody on the call certainly knows my brother's in the furniture business, and he delivers furniture free anywhere in the state of Arkansas. And he was telling me the other day he pulled up and filled the tank of his delivery truck, which is not a truck. It's one of those big box trucks. And I forget what he was telling me. It's like $242 to fill the tank of his delivery truck. So
but what do you pick? Never mind.
I'm sorry, Bob. I'm going to be quiet because California gas is
we're not
yet higher.
Probably. Anyway, what do you recommend for interest rate shock? The Fed's telegraphed that we're going to have 6 hikes. I'm assuming at least 1.5%. So when you do your cash flow analysis, are you just going to put that 1.5% plus another 2% buffer? Or what do you recommend to our underwriters?
Well, I think that certainly something that we have to think about. We had all got comfortable. Rates hadn't changed in so long, Bob, that a rate shock was not really a part of underwriting. I mean, it was, but it wasn't really considered the way it was when we were lending money, 10 years ago. But now, I agree, Bob. I think I've heard 5 to 6 rate quarter point bumps. So I'd put the 1.5% in and probably add an addition. I'd shock it at 1.5 and then shock it at 2.5.
Yeah. So here's a rounded up a 4% increase, and I think that's prudent. And then it's got to meet those requirements. If nothing else, it's a nice discussion that you can have with the borrower. Definitely educate your BDOs that you're going to be wanting to look at that. But what you're paying for loans today, it won't be that way in 12 months. Now, I'm not going to predict all the other economic trends out there other than looks like this is going to happen with interest rates very much so.
Well, and I think the thing to look at too, Bob, is if you had any borrowers that you're doing annual reviews on their SBA loan and you take a look at it and it was approved at a 1.15 SBA's minimum. Well, guess what, Bob? When you factor in, 6 bumps by the Fed, it may not be a 1.15 anymore.
Hopefully it's at least 1.1. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we definitely, as good at prudent SBA lenders, have to take into impact the rate increases that are going to happen this year and that potentially may happen in the following year.
All's been quiet on SBA's front with respect to issuing updated regulations. Some are trickling in. We got some on the PPP, but we're not getting the massive volume that we had 3-6 months ago, but there's still questions. For example, Lance, I got an email the other day that said, hey, do we still need to address the COVID worksheet in our underwriting? And the answer is yes, because SBA has not said not to do that. Now, maybe you condense that all in 1 or 2 paragraphs saying we don't think it's going to be an issue or whatever the minor points are. You don't have to be as extensive, but you still need to address it until SBA says, no, you can stop.
Wow, you're absolutely right, Bob. And the impact of the pandemic on small businesses is still exists, and it's still different from state to state. So it needs to be addressed. Your comments in your credit memo, Bob, may be states back to 100% operation, no impact on this business.
No impact. Yeah. There you go. And that addresses the issue. At least give it a one-line throwaway. You don't have to go to the full extensive analysis that we had, but maybe you want to have a full extensive analysis. What does doubling gasoline prices do to this business? The furniture retailer who has free delivery, maybe he has to charge for that now or bumps his prices. We'll figure it out. Wanted to quickly go over where we are in the bill, and 7A is fine with $30 billion. And we've increased, basically doubled 504, which is great for our 504 friends. And now we do not expect it to reach its cap. I know, and there's the debt refinance option as well. So especially in a period of rising interest rate, 504 is very attractive for the borrower. I know it may not be as attractive for the lender in terms of premium income, but borrowers sure are going to show an appetite for fixed rate loans on these commercial loans, Lance.
Bob, I'm going to be surprised even with $11 billion if the 504 loan program doesn't push right up against that before the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah. And now remember, and it's not a slam dunk. I think lenders still need to be, lenders must be prudent, I think. And remember what happened during the Great Recession is a lot of lenders said, I have a 50% loan to value. I don't care about the 504. But then a lot of them were taking haircuts on the first, and 504 did experience quite a few losses, which means in times of recession, you're going to have some losses on that. If you're the first lien holder on a conventional basis, you are going to experience some losses. So the world is simply changing. That's all it is. It's just constantly changing. We need to be on top of it.
And you bring a great point, Bob. In the Great Recession, I was actually deputy at Little Rock at that time, and Hollis Carter was the chief 504 liquidation officer. And you very seldom see the first mortgage holder on a SBA 504 project lose. They normally come out. But if you combine the environment we're in, we've had escalating real estate prices. And if all of a sudden the bottom fell out of the market, you might see it. But that's the great thing about the 504 program, Bob. We can sit and talk about 100 projects, and the vast majority of them, the first mortgage holder will come.
And obviously, and I'm, in fact, Lance, I'm finishing crunching numbers on the hotels, and I don't have it in front of me, but we're doing a recap. In 2007, 2008, the losses were well over 20% for hotels. 2012, 2013, less than 1% losses. So those numbers are pretty striking. Hey, I understand Delaney's in the house. Delaney, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. I made it just in time.
Oh, very good. I hope you did well on your exam. What did Mr. Phelps do with okay, Bank of America senior VP, Lance, is making decent money.
Yeah.
I definitely six figures, probably a little bit more, not more than six figures, but a good six figures. And he throws it all away for basically 1 year's salary in FedEx envelopes of cash. What happened here, Delaney?
So there was a company, and in 2013, they started with a $1.5 million line of credit. It was all fraudulent, of course, and over the course of about 5 years, they increased that up to $8 million. And the thing is, Kurt Phelps, the senior vice president of Bank of America, he essentially, allegedly, coached them throughout this entire process. Allegedly. Yeah, throw that out there about 1 million times. But there's also some other interesting aspects of this case. There are some text messages that reveal that he could allegedly be working with other members of Bank of America to employ this scheme. There's also some alleged talk of bribing other members, and there's also some text that states that he has previously done this with other companies, allegedly.
And he took this company, and they had a $1.5 million line of credit, and over the years ballooned it to $8 million. And he was coaching and say, hey, you need to bump up the receivables, you need to bump this. And everything obviously was phony on that. Lance, what is striking about this fraud is he not only did he do the fraud, he was brazenly recruiting his fellow employees. And he had obviously, and more people knew about this. And then he also had the co-conspirators at the company, and he was defrauding them. And he was saying, "Hey, give me more business." I mean, this was not a well thought out plan. If this is what happened according to the feds.
Well, I think the biggest challenge, Delaney and Bob, that I have with this, and something you brought up, Bob. Senior vice president of Bank of America, probably at least 125 to 150, maybe more, but he can make that for the rest of his life and increase over time. And basically, he threw away a career with a great financial institution for some short-term gain. I just don't get that part of it.
Yeah,
I don't
understand. Be a felon. I mean, he will get some jail time on this, and
all his co-conspirators already pleaded guilty.
Oh, what was the result of that? What did they get?
I actually did not look into how many years they received. So that is my bad. I should have done a little more research.
No. I know they pled guilty. I don't think they've been sentenced. I think you're okay from that.
Well, and the thing Delaney shared with me about this project or problem is allegedly he would receive what? Envelopes of cash?
FedEx
envelopes full of cash.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty brazen.
All right. Yeah. It definitely is. Okay. What did the breweries do? Is that how you pronounce it?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. Brewery?
But they did.
So
And I want to give them credit. This is what they bought. They bought the $200,000 residence, not the $1 million mansion, a 2019 GMC, and a 2020 Honda. So
Wow.
they weren't flashy, but how much did they end up stealing?
so together they managed to obtain, I think it was a couple $100,000. Let me check.
$900,000. Yeah.
Yes, $900,000. The interesting thing that you missed out on is that they actually used about $25,000 of that to make a restitution payment on a previous
That's right. That
probation for Amber. They
Oh my
got
goodness.
quite a few charges too. I believe Amber has about 16 for herself, and then Anthony has about 6.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, good. They caught him. They're going to seize the funds and recoup as much as they can. Here we have someone who's on release, and she committed another fraud. Sort of similar to our friend Nick Patel, who's committing fraud over the prison phone line that's being tapped.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how to pronounce this name. Shropshire.
There you go.
Back in 2014, was filing false tax returns and lying on loan applications and
And we
received
can say
just
that
about 3 years in
he
prison.
pleaded because this person was guilty and was sentenced. So we can say that she did it. It's a she. Go ahead.
Yes, so then a couple of years later, she's still on supervised release and managed to get about $45,000 in idle funds when she actually applied for over $300,000. Similarly, spent it on, hotel stays, shopping sprees, cars, all the works.
I guess what stuns me, guys, is the number of people who already have a conviction of some type, maybe on probation, has been in trouble with law, and they're still submitting applications for PPP and idle loans and different types of
Well, Lance, they're the smartest people in the room, and that's a consistent theme, is they're narcissistic and smart, and they got away with it once, or they got a slap on the wrist, and they're smart enough to figure out how to do it again.
Let's do it again. Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. Thank you very much for that, Delaney. We'll be following up on those. Oh, Russell, here's the reply received from 70 questions at the start of the year regarding COVID. The notice has expired. However, that does not mean the questions are no longer needed. The lender needs to follow prudent lending procedures and should be discussing what the borrower matters that would affect cash flow and the viability of business. Russell, thank you very, very much. And I believe that confirms what we said, Lance. I think we were right.
Yeah, Bob, that is SBA speak for the notice expired, but you still have to do it.
Yeah, I don't, and I'm, okay, so that's where we are. Because that's where we are. Okay, we have our franchise data done. In fact, I am revamping it. We're going to send out a version 1.2. We had done the charge off on 3 or 4 year analysis, and some people have requested 1 to 10 years. So we're going to give you both data fields.
Yeah.
And then you can pick and choose this. So we'll have a 1 to 10 year performance, and then the highlighted years from 2013 to 2017, which I believe is more accurate, and I go through an analysis of why we're doing it that way. Lance, what are we doing Wednesday?
Well, we're going to talk about how to get ready for an SBA review, how to use your Paris score and the information found within the Paris score to your advantage when managing your SBA department. Just try to give you tips and tricks to be ready for when SBA decides to do a desktop, or they're not doing on-site reviews, but probably soon.
I think they're going to do a few on
Are they back?
reviews.
Okay.
Yeah, but there was Joseph, make a note. Let's do a poll on Monday asking people if they know what their Paris score is and how to access it. And don't worry if you don't know, Lance we'll go through that, but that is critically important. There's a ton of great information, and excellent managers are a should I say, a good benchmarking is to know your score and know the components of that score, and SBA lays it all out for you in terms of how they come up with the number, don't they, Lance? And in this case, what's better, lower or higher? What number do we want?
A low score is better, Bob.
Okay, so, and Lance is going to go through that, and also there's some, I'll let you brag, Lance. You took over a shop, and how much did you increase it? What percentage did you increase it by just doing some maintenance and some normal?
We actually
servicing?
reduced the score by 35%.
Yeah, so it can, yeah.
It was just using the information that was found within the pair score itself to manage the process.
Manage the process, and it's a great management tool, and it helps when you're reporting your performance to your superiors and also to your OIG, excuse me, your FDIC and your state and your other auditors. Say, hey, we're at what's a good average score, Lance?
A good score is something in the mid-20s.
Yeah,
upper 20s.
Yeah, and so I could say good score is that, and we came in and we're at a 42, and today we're at a 32, and that's great to let them. There's an outside verification of what you're doing, so it's
absolutely
great. Well, very good. Hey, everyone, have a nice weekend. Delaney, travel safe. I think you're a spring break. Lance, as always, thank you very much. We'll see you on Monday, and thank you for joining us today for Coleman Report Live and for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time.
Have a great weekend.